Join us for a review of the Skoda Octavia here today in entry-level trim. Let's go. Here the Octavia in the front in the new generation leads over here from the grille to the headlamps, so a very fluent design. Headlamps start from LED option, you can also get a matrix LED. 4 meters 69, 15 foot 4 or 185 inches is the length. The Octavia available here as the Combi, as the Estate, but also in a sedan style with a fastback opening. It's actually also a very interesting choice. The wheels go from 16 inch to 19 inch for the RS. These here are the 17 inch wheels with winter tires. In the rear we can see the typical MQB hatch style. Then here in this case then with the Octavia Estate. New modern tail lamp with a good signature, so it really looks modern and sportier than before. And good that they did not go for any fake exhaust graphic right here. Under the hood you have a set of 2-liter 4-cylinder engines, both petrol and diesel. Of course, a petrol engine for the high horsepower spec versions. You have a plug-in hybrid, a 1.4 TSI plus electric. Then you have a 1.5 liter petrol engine, turbo, also with mild hybrid system. And this one here is the smallest one, the 3-cylinder 1 liter engine. Very interesting, and with 110 horsepower and also with mild hybrid system if you go for the combination with the DSG dual clutch transmission. The interior here, soft touch at the inside of the doors, and also a nice structure here, high quality, that's cool. And also here this fabric insert at the dashboard, that's really nice. Completely new steering wheel for this generation in a extravagant style, all digital instruments and screens. And these seats here on the style trim level, really beautiful, nice design job. And they also have some kind of structure. The lower part you can put a little bit longer right here. And they already keep you tight here. Shoulder formed out, and yeah, really elegant and good choice and very comfortable. I can already tell you that right now. Getting inside is an easy entry and a nice comfortable seating position on these fabric seats. They really do a good comfort job, and when I put it in the lowest position here with 1.86 or 6'1", there's still enough headroom left, no problem. Interior overview, soft touch dashboard right here, nice with this fabric insert at the dashboard. That's really high class, very cool, like swinging structure. The ambient lighting is between that. And on the left side, 10.25 inch screen, digital instruments always, and the right side here starts with a smaller 8.25 inch screen. This here is the optional 10 inch screen. Still quite big bezels here, left and right. Set temperature to 22 degrees.
Sure.
And this would be one use case, to have a walk around to this rather complicated climate control using the voice input. And then the digital instruments right here with a clear view, and they're also flexible to change the view. For example, you can also have the map all over the place. That's of course the good thing here about digital instruments, that you can choose it yourself. And the head-up display is one of the options we have here in this vehicle, so you always have the speed in your line of sight. And a detailed look at the screen, this is one of the main menus, and you can also set your individualized home menu, that's possible. This is the map, could be a little bit more responsive, and Seat Leon, VW Golf and Skoda Octavia, they have some software issues, so sometimes it's really laggy or something is failing. So far this time with the vehicle, actually a quite good result so far. And as for the rear, not to forget the shoe tip either. Here the material at the inside of the door on the rear, by the way, is hard pack, but you have a sun visor, manual one as well. And legroom wise, this one here being the long wheelbase platform. So if you compare Audi A3 and the Golf short wheelbase, and this one here, Skoda Octavia and the Seat Leon on the long wheelbase. And see here, I have enough legroom left, definitely more than in the Golf, for example. And you have some pockets here at the back part, and you have actually a good seating position here in the rear, also enough headroom. So the Octavia, although it's not too long on the exterior, already offers a lot of space on the interior. That has always been good. Electric hatch here for the Estate and 640 liters, a little bit more than in the previous generation. Cabin trolley here also fits in a vertical way, no problem. The cover here is very intelligent because it has rails left and right, therefore it's a very clean solution. And also fold up like this. There are different solutions available also here for the storage. For example, this is like a trunk splitter. You can also set it here to the front level. Below here you have some more space, and below there even more space. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Skoda Octavia, here with the entry-level petrol engine, and since we have the combination with the DSG, the dual clutch transmission, also have the mild hybrid system right here. And the interesting thing is that we also have the so-called sailing or coasting effects. So for example, in some situations, not in all, when you for example go downhill and you don't accelerate naturally, then the RPMs sometimes also drop down to zero. Oh, you have to be careful here. Some ice still around. Whoa. Hey! Yeah, this is almost like our drift sessions on the ice lakes in Sweden sometimes. So now we get out. And I mean, the engine is actually powerful enough for the vehicle. Of course, you somewhat have more driving fun with a stronger engine and more acceleration and so on, but already when talking about the city traffic, there's actually no problem at all. This one has a turbo, so this 110 horsepower is also quite okay. The car is not too heavy. We will also head out onto the motorway to test the performance right there, if that's enough also on the motorway. This will be very exciting, definitely. Well, really low standing winter sun here at the moment. Really blinding, pretty interesting. But the roundabout visibility of this car is actually quite good, especially in the combi. You have a better view to the rear. These, the back mirror is quite slim for design purposes. Maybe could be a little bit larger. To the sides, actually also a good view through the mirrors, but there's the blind spot monitor. Good to have that one. I would definitely get this assistance systems package, because the blind spot monitor just helps prevent accidents, especially when these cars are coming from behind and you maybe really don't see them. And it also warns kind of in advance. And when you set the turning indicator, then it also flashes like this as an additional warning. So that's actually quite cool. The noise insulation here in the new generation is also at a good level. Not the best in segment, but definitely not the worst. If you ask yourself difference Octavia and Golf, I literally stepped just from a Golf into this vehicle, and therefore I can have now like a very good feeling for that. And I can tell you that you feel that the Golf has the shorter wheelbase. So the Golf and the A3 has a shorter wheelbase. Golf variant, Skoda Octavia and the Seat Leon have the longer wheelbase of the very same platform. And of course, they still feel somewhat similar, but the short wheelbase versions just feel more agile, just somehow better, And as long as the road is quite even here, suspension-wise, there's no problem. The thing is that when you have the low horsepower versions of the Octavia and the Leon, up to 150 horsepower, then you get the, let's say, less elaborated rear axle suspension, and you do feel the difference definitely. So with the A3 and the Golf, it is already including the 150 horsepower trims, and then you get the more elaborated rear axle, and you also get it then of course for higher horsepower versions than for the Leon and the Octavia. And so for this reason, actually, this could be a good reason to go for a higher horsepower trim than with Octavia and the Leon. Again, as long as the road is even, it's no problem, but when you're running over some bumps, some holes in the road and so on, then you start to feel a difference, that you get less kick, especially at the rear axle. Let's now go to the sport mode for best throttle input and just see what this engine is able to do. Is it really enough power-wise for this vehicle? We're going to find out right now on our acceleration motorway test, German Autobahn style. We go from 30 kilometers an hour and then accelerate it out. Let's see. After this Golf, it's Poland. That's 150 kilometers an hour. We'll leave it at that, and that's actually quite okay. Of course, not an explosive acceleration. We could expect that, but you see, when you're on the motorway and you are already at speed, still something possible. Here from 130 kilometers an hour. Let's see, I overtake. German, of course. It's a turbo. There's still something happening, something coming. Interesting sound, by the way, also from the 3-cylinder engine. You know that the 3-cylinder sound is very typical and sounds a little bit more growling than the 4-cylinders. Pretty interesting. As for the fuel economy, so if you hammer this one here on the motorway, of course the fuel economy won't be better than with the bigger engines. It will be comparable with all of the engines. It's more, like the typical fast motorway consumption then. It's about around 7 liters per 100 kilometers. So more like 30 mpg US, 40 mpg UK. However, we've seen already with the 1.5 liter TSI, and actually if price is not a problem, I would rather go with the 1.5, because then you don't have to go on so high RPMs, So this one here, it is okay for the entry-level price, and it's also powerful enough. But you have to bear in mind that usually you turn it up higher, have higher RPM, and then also the consumption won't be better actually. With this new mild hybrid system, both with the 1.5 and with the 1 liter engine here, you can however also score something like 5 liters per 100 kilometers, which is more like 40 mpg US and 50 mpg UK. This is possible when you have, use some of the advantages of this drivetrain. Keeping it cruise control on the motorway, then when going downhill, for example, then there's some recuperation happening. There's, by the way, not like a very noticeable recuperation where you would feel like the car would be slowed down or something. But still, when you're going downhill, then you can have some of this recuperation effect, and then, electronic consumers and so on are being aided then again by the energy you have gained back, and this brings the consumption down. Also, the mild hybrid system, told you earlier, enables this coasting or sailing effect that the RPMs can sometimes drop down. It always depends on outside temperature and how much heating is going on in the inside, how much electric consumers are being on. So I had it earlier, but at the moment it's not happening. It really depends on the situation. The car decides that for itself. So this mild hybrid system is not a huge game changer, but definitely can give you some advantages. Fuel economy wise, then I have to say, if you have the 1.5 TSI or the 1 liter TSI, it doesn't make a big difference. It's more than really how you drive the car and the car itself. So even with the plug-in hybrid, with the 1.4 TSI, we had a similar consumption, so doesn't make the biggest difference. And I'm not sure, I didn't have the 1.5 TSI in the same temperature conditions, but it seemed that this one was even a little bit more fuel saving. So I can't say that the 1 liter engine is the best as for the fuel economy. It surely won't be that bad, definitely. But the thing is, it's the best in the price-performance ratio. And now to our conclusion for today with the Skoda Octavia here in the new generation as combi today with the small petrol engine new MHEV system called e-TEC. Exterior wise, I think New generation, really nice and sporty looking, elegant in the front. In the side profile, it really depends on if you prefer the combi or the sedan version. The sedan already quite practical with this fastback opening and also better looking in my opinion, but the combi also does a good job definitely for the practicability. A lot of space on the interior, good build quality. The seats are really awesome. That's one of the highlights for today. However, software-wise, talked about it a couple of times with this new platform, both for the Golf, also Leon and also Skoda Octavia. Yeah, software-wise, a step backward, and also the user interface is not that good. So that was better with the previous generation actually. Everything else stepped up the game even further. Good result. Fuel economy here with the small engine is not better than with the 1.5 TSI. So for the best fuel economy, I would really go for the 1.5 TSI MHEV. We've had that before. You can score some good fuel economy with that one, but you also have to turn up the RPM if you want some power out of the engine. It is powerful enough for that vehicle. So it wouldn't be my first pick for the best fuel economy and also not for the driving fun. I think the 1.5 TSI would be the right choice. However, it would be the best pick if you want the best price-performance ratio, because the entry price is for sure even lower here with this engine. So as it stands here right now, less than 40,000 euros, so like 30,000 euros plus, and that's of course a very good price-performance deal. Still, the Skoda Octavia is one of the best price-performance deals here on the market, because you already get a actually quite large car from the inside without being too big from the outside. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Also tune into other Octavia reviews, other engine versions. They will be linked in the video description. See you there.